Hello and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast. My name is Laura and I'm coming to you from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, where I live with my boyfriend, our cat, and our rabbit. You can find me pretty much everywhere online as Tiny Human Knits, and I will have links to all of my social media and everything else I talk about in the description box below this video. Hello and welcome, or welcome back. It has been about 3.5 weeks since my last episode, and I have quite a few things to share with you today. Right off the top, I'm going to say I still have my cough. I'm going to go on a tangent immediately because it's kind of funny. I have had a dry, unproductive cough. I think I said before that I'm pretty sure it's like postnasal drip, rhinitis kind of thing. I've had it since about 2016. And by complete fluke, last weekend, or like last Friday, I think, I'm pretty sure Jason and I figured out what it's from. And we're pretty sure I'm allergic to our wood stove. Or like wood burning. Wood particles. Pretty sure that's what it is. Because the first year that I started to have it really bad, I lived very close to a sawmill. And he was gone last week for a few days. And I thought to myself, like, oh, I'm finally like on the other end of it. It's going away. I'm getting better. And then last Friday he started a fire and I immediately started coughing again. So looking back on my life, that explains a lot. I used to get it a lot of the time when we lived in Northern Alberta. I would get it a lot in the fall when farmers were allowed to burn their like garbage stuff. You didn't need a permit. And I'm like, oh yeah, that actually completely checks out. 100%. So, he told me that I can move out whenever I want. Just kidding. But kind of. So I'm just gonna have to figure that out. I did order an air purifier, so hopefully I can set that up in our living room so I won't be coughing quite so much. But I will probably periodically have to cut for coughing because talking exacerbates all that. But it's just allergies. It's fine. It's fine. So I thought I'd just tell you that right off the top. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. It's so funny learning things about yourself, 9 years after the fact. It's fun. It's a good time. So, I'm also going to tell you what I'm wearing. So this is my Ingrid sweater. This is a pattern by PetiteKnit. I knit it out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the Rooibos Heather colorway. I finished this on the 1st of January and I wore it for a month straight and then I decided I needed to give it a break, otherwise I was going to wear it out. And so I washed it, depilled it, and put it away. I have a tendency to do that with a lot of my sweaters. If I finish something and I really like it, I'll wear it to death. Actually, this year I'm really going to try my hardest to make myself more wearable clothes on like with sewing and with knitting, actually with summer garments. I don't buy clothes. I have a terrible bad habit of thinking to myself every time I'm anywhere that sells clothes, which is not very often, I'll think to myself, oh, I can just make that. And then I never do. I buy patterns, I buy fabric, and then I never give myself time to make them. So this year I'm going to try a lot harder to try to get some of those things that I've got like basically half done ready so that I can have more clothes to wear instead of just wearing the same clothes over and over. So I'm sure some of you can also feel that struggle. It's absolutely ridiculous, but I thought I'd bring it out today because it's a beautiful day. It's quite chilly outside, but it's sunny, and this is it's light but like nice and oversized. And I really like that. So also, it's just making me think. I have another whole sweater quantity right here of the same color because it's like my favorite color from Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. And I really, 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 I've set myself up now. I really want to knit the book club Pullover by Sari Nordland in this color. I know I said I was going to knit the book club Cardigan first, and that's what this color here is for. That's probably not going to happen. I'll probably do the pullover first because I do wear pullovers more than I do cardigans, for the most part. That could also be helped by the fact that I never knit cardigans. But I just think that, I don't know. I'm just talking for no reason now. But I do want to knit that one really soon. But I need to clear off some sweaters from my needles first. So I'm going to go into what I have finished. No, none of the older sweaters, really, that I have been working on. I'm really sorry if that bothers you. I can't help it. It's been like this since January. You know, when Jason started lighting the fires all the time. Anyways, so last time I showed you my newest colorway that I had finished. That's this one right here, which is the Scrappy Quilt Socks, which I look at it and I love it so much. But a couple weeks, maybe a week and a half ago, I got in the mail the original Scrappy quilt back from my mother-in-law, who has a long arm quilting machine and she quilts most of my quilts for me. But she did this super rushed. It was great. I got it back. It's now done. It's been bound. It is washed, covered in cat hair, but whatever. So this is the OG, completely finished Scrappy quilt, and I love it. I love it so much. This is the Wild Star quilt pattern. I will have it linked in the description box down below. I cannot remember who the designer was because I can never remember things like that. I don't know why. Getting old. There's no space up there anymore. The only thing that I did different was a mistake. I've talked about this before. These bigger stars are actually supposed to be even bigger. They're supposed to go all the way to the edge where they kind of fill up more of the space. I misread the pattern, but I really liked it because it made it so that I was able to use a jelly roll that I had. Because I wouldn't have been able to use it otherwise because the pieces would have been too big. So I really, really, really actually like that mistake, and I'm planning on making another one that has a scrappy black background and has lighter stars, and I'm going to do the same thing, I think. But I have it back. I bound it with actually the same jelly roll. I just sewed a bunch of them together and used that as the binding, and I really like the way that looks, and that way I didn't have to cut anything out either, which is kind of nice. So it's about a throw size, and I think it is absolutely fabulous. I'll have to put in some B-roll for this as well, show you. But it's been washed, it's got the lovely crinkle. It is covered in cat hair because I was trying to keep it all pristine and nice. But last Thursday, I was home doing work, as I always do, and the power went off at around 3:30. It didn't end up turning back on until about 11. So it was quite cold in the house. So I got this quilt. My house is full of quilts, but I got this quilt because my normal couch quilt wasn't cutting it. It was a bit too thin, so I was getting chilly. So I had to get this quilt out and I put it on top of my other quilt, and it was fantastic. But what had ended up happening was some absolute morons decided, and this is wild to me, 3:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday. Apparently they were drinking, decided to drive 100 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone, which baffles me as well because it was literally the time where buses are dropping kids off, so like who knows what could have happened. Anyway, lost control of their car, hit a power pole a couple blocks down from me, broke it in half, ended up on their roof somehow. Anyway, obviously the power got shut off, but they actually had to block off our entire street because they wanted to, there's probably some safety reasons, but they wanted to get it done as fast as possible. So actually when Jason was done work, he had to park the car up a few streets and walk home. And we happened to be having a snowstorm that day, so it was great. But it was actually really nice because I was sitting at home in the quiet because the power was out. I had a couple battery-powered candles. It was snowing. And then also on top of that, the fact that there was no cars going back and forth, it was so peaceful. I know it sucks because like people who were taking the bus had to walk all the way down the street and stuff like that, but like it was surprisingly peaceful. So yeah, me and my two quilts and my knitting were on the couch, and it just sort of also made me realize, and I've been meaning to do this for literally years, I really need a set of fingerless mitts. I don't know what's holding me back. It would take me 2 days at most. And I've needed them for years and I just refuse to do it. But I really need that so I can knit in the cold. But yeah, so it's covered in cat hair because heaven forbid I do anything without the cat. So, the girl's got FOMO more than any person I've ever met in my life, except maybe my friend Brittany. She's always got to be involved. Anyway, yes. I'll have it linked below. I want to make more of these. I'm planning on making... So I've dyed almost all of the yarn for my update for the Scrappy quilt. But I want to make Scrappy quilt project bags that look kind of the same way as this. So that's going to be my work for the next few weeks. And I'm really excited about that because I think they're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. And I love it so much that I finished one of the projects that I have in that same yarn, or same colorway. So last time this was a work in progress. I had started the Friday Mini by PetiteKnit, which is a pattern I have knit a couple times already, actually. So I knit it first for my nephew Axton in my Jolly Holiday colorways, and then I knit a adult size version, which is still ridiculous to me because, oh my goodness, that took forever, and I always said I wouldn't knit it again. And then I said after that I wouldn't knit it again, and here I am knitting it again. But I finished it. This is the Scrappy quilt colorway. I didn't do the background as Scrappy because I thought that would just be a pain in the butt and would be way too many ends. Because I don't know if it's very noticeable on camera, but the sort of cream colors in between the brighter colors are actually Scrappy as well. They're not all the same color. There's one that's like a pale pink and one that's like a pale taupe and then white and sort of brownie, but I don't know how clear that is, but it's to match my quilt that also has a Scrappy background. But with this garment, I was not going to do that because it has a ton of ends already. And I really don't mind sewing in ends, obviously, but I thought that was probably a bit overkill. But it's finished! I made a little mark in the blue yarn to indicate the back because there's no short rows on this, and just so it's easier for, I made this for my nephew Callum, who is going to be 2 in June. So I made the 2 to 3 year old size. It's my little sister Dana's youngest. So I made this for him because I've been sort of making it so that Axton will get things that can be handed down, but like I want Callum to have his own things too that are just for him, and I just thought it was cute. So it is, yeah, the 2 to 3 year old size. I used 3mm needles, same as the pattern. Everything is as the pattern says, except I did shorten it a bit because I noticed that the pictures of a lot of the projects, they almost look tunic-like. And I didn't want it to be that long. So I took out maybe an inch or 2-ish. And like they say, it says to knit it longer so that when you block it out, because the 1x1 half, or like, yeah, broken rib, half row, 1x1 broken rib, it cinches it in. And it does, but when you stretch it out, when you block it, it doesn't actually decrease the length that much. So I just didn't, I didn't do the full length, which I think will be fine. But everything else is correct. I keep losing my train of thought because I keep coughing. But yeah, I absolutely love 1x1 broken rib. It's the only reason I keep knitting this pattern. And also it makes me realize, like, I keep saying, like, oh, I'm not going to knit any more gifts. It's a horse, S-H-I-T, because I'm a lying liar who lies, and I cannot help myself, especially when it comes to my sister Dana. God bless her. I'm surprised she isn't sick of me sending her things. But I'm torn between my idea of, like, not knitting gifts and also the other side of me that is like, get rid of your yarn stash. And the best way to knit a lot of my yarn stash, because it's smaller amounts, is to make kids' garments, even though I dyed the yarn for this specifically. Anyway, but then so I used about 120 grams of the background color, and then I don't even know how much, probably about, I think it would have been about 36 grams of the mini skeins. I dyed 5 of the colors, the 5 colors. So I had lots of it left. And there was this pattern by Kolibri by Johanna that I really wanted to try. So I dyed myself up some more of the background color. And I made a summer top out of the same colors. And here it is. And it is fabulous. So this is the Jacques, I think, top, pardon me for pronunciation, top by Kolibri by Johanna. I'm always looking for different summer tops, knitted summer tops to try. And the more I look at summer tops, the more I realize that I'm really very picky. Quite picky. It's probably to do with, I do have a little bit of an awkward shape when it comes to knitted garments because I always think I'm kind of shaped like a Who from Whoville. I've got quite a small upper body and my lower body is about 3 sizes bigger. And I have a really short torso, so the transition is quite drastic. So a lot of the times when it comes to summer garments, they'll fit on the top but not on the bottom, vice versa. It's either baggy or, I'm sure a lot of people know what that feeling is. So I'm really picky with what kind of shapes I like. But I really, really like the shape of the original garment. It's knit, the original one is knit, I think she knit it in silk or linen. I think both, actually, because it's supposed to be color blocked. I did it striped just because I like stripes. But I knit this out of the same sock yarn that I knit all of the other ones out of, so it's a merino nylon. So it doesn't have the same quality as the yarn she used in her pattern, her original design. But I was kind of using this as half a way to do as a sample of like what you can do. If you have mini skeins and stuff, this would be a great pattern to knit them into. But also I kind of used it as a toile. You know how like when you sew garments, you do a practice one on less expensive fabric to see what you need to change. So I knit it as is, basically what the pattern says, to see what I need to change in my next one. So it didn't even matter if it fit me or not that well. I feel like I'm babbling. Probably am. So I basically did it just to see what I would need to change for my next one. So if I want to make one in cotton or linen or silk, what I would change. So I really, really like the way this fits on the top. I find it sits really, really well. And the only thing I would really change, and honestly, it's probably a me thing where I'm looking at it too hard because I'm really critical of myself, where it probably looks totally fine, but I think I would need to just widen out the bottom a little bit more. Not add more stitches underneath the arm, but just sort of do some maybe A-line increases or just increase my needle size for the bottom part of the top, just to make it fit my body a little bit better. But this, I would absolutely recommend this one. It is so nice. I used 3mm needles, same as my Friday Mini, and I used the same fingering weight yarn. And it's fantastic. I might even, for my next one, I might deepen the scoop neck. I like this one because it does sit, like, it's not high like some of the other summer garments that people make can be. I quite like a deep scoop or a V-neck that goes quite low because I have quite a flat chest, so I can get away with it. And I just think it looks a bit nicer. But it would be very easy to deepen this scoop neck. Pardon me. And yeah, I'm thinking I might do it in a cotton. The only thing I changed is I did a 1x1 regular rib instead of the 1x1 half twisted rib that's in the pattern. And that's just, again, a personal preference. And then again, yeah, also doing stripes instead of color blocking. But it's such a nice pattern. I'm looking forward to, I feel like I'll like the look of it better when it's actually summertime and not, winter and you get your winter softness. So maybe in the summertime when it's hot, I'll actually be more appreciative of the fact that I've got a tank top that fits me well. But yeah, so this one, it's kind of funny. I used 156 grams of yarn for this Friday Mini, and this one used 159 grams. So almost the exact same amount of yarn. And I have a tiny bit of my mini skeins left. Oh, jeepers, I'm unraveling stuff. This is what I've got left. It's actually enough to do like scrappy blanket stuff. And then I have about, well, probably about 80 grams of the background left in this one. And I'm thinking what I might do, if I can find the right pattern for it, is I'd really like to make a, like a colorwork sock with these colors. We'll see if I ever get around to that, because I'm always doing sock samples, but I think it would be a really nice way to use up these little bits. Or I'll send them to the lady that I donate all my scraps to, because she takes everything that I send her and she makes blankets for people in need, so. It's because I'm lazy. Me and Scrappy Projects don't get along. I would never work on them. But yeah, I really like this as a pattern, personally. It's my own, the shaping that I like. But the color that I'm actually thinking of making another one in, I'm going to just do a solid color one, is this Sadness Garn Mandarin Petite. And it's 100% cotton, and I think that would look really nice. And she has versions where you can do it cropped or longer, and then she also has a version, instructions where you can do, it's kind of like a rolled neck, where you do knitting, like you do a couple rows of ribbing and then you just do knitting and then it naturally rolls over. And I actually don't mind that. I usually don't like that in patterns, but I think the casual look of this top, it actually works really well. But yeah, I'm just really happy to be making a couple more summer garments because I am desperately in need of them. And also I've found that I really, really like knitting on 3mm needles. I don't know why. It's like my ideal thickness. Most of the stuff that I make, if they're not socks, is 3 to 4mm needles. And everything else above that can be a bit trying for me. Excuse me. So moving on now into my works in progress. The first one I'll show you is just to get it out of the way because it's the same colors as the last 3 things I showed you, and that's a bit dull. But honestly, I can't remember where I was with this before I started. I should really double check my information, but I think I've worked on it a bit. I can't actually remember. But I'm doing a little bit more work on my Stella quilt cushion. This is a pattern by Penrose, and it is absolutely fantastic. I always forget how much fun I have knitting this. And the only reason it's not further along is because I didn't want to have this as another finished object that's the exact same color as the other 2 I did. So I put it aside for a little while. So I think it's looking fantastic. So yeah, I'm using some minis, some DK minis that I dyed with the same colors as my Scrappy quilt. And then I've chosen like 3 extra ones because I wanted them all to be different the same way my my first Stella quilt cushion is. And then this has got the Scrappy background, which I absolutely adore. And I'm wondering if I should make DK sets of this. I might make a few and then just like people can decide if they want it or not. I don't like dyeing up too much yarn and then having it kind of just sit there. I kind of, my philosophy is trying to be like a small town bakery where if I sell out, I sell out, you know, not like a, you know, big chain grocery store that throws out half of their stock every night. So that's gotten a little bit of work. I'm knitting it on 4mm needles and I'm knitting the DK size because it's DK weight yarn and I love it. The background, I think I told you last time, but the background for the cushion is going to be the same color as what I used for the heels of my socks. One day a new color will take over my life again and you guys will have to see a bunch of things in the same colors again. This just keeps happening. So my second work in progress, that one's very red. My second work in progress, yes, is I have worked a little bit on my fall river vest. This is the one I was talking about last time where I wanted to try and do a round every day. I have not done that, but I have been doing quite a few days where I'll pick it up and knit like 6 rounds. So as long as I have the idea where I need to pick it up every once in a while and work on it a bit, it will be done sooner rather than later. And I've actually gotten quite a bit of it finished. So this is where I am now. So I don't know if you can see, but my little bulb marker there is where I was last time. And it is fabulous. So right over here, this whole section is one full repeat. So, so now I'm into the second repeat. And if my row gauge, I think it's the same as it is in the pattern. I only have to do like 1.5 more repeats of the like full repeat before I can start doing the front and back separately, not separately, but like you add steek stitches and all that kind of stuff. So if I just keep that in my mind, it will be done. I'm so glad this doesn't have sleeves. I would never get it done if it had sleeves, but I'm really, really enjoying the way it's working up. And this is, it's a pattern by Mary Jane Mucklestone. I think I showed it last time. It is knit out of Jameson Spindrift, which is a very woolly wool. Jason would definitely never be able to wear this right next to his skin. So it's nice that it's a, it's going to be like a layering piece. It's a vest. So he's not going to wear it against his skin. He'll always have a shirt underneath. So if he even wears it, I don't know. That man's got so many knitted garments. 8 to be exact. Could be 4 cardigans, 4 pullovers, I think. And I keep making him things. I don't know why. I think it's just because he's so excited about them. So my last finished object that I have anything to show you, I am still working on my quilt for my nephew Callum, but I haven't put a whole lot of work into it. I really want to get that done soon though, because I'd like to send off some more quilts for my mother-in-law and I'd like to have that be part of it. So hopefully in the next few weeks I'll be able to get that done. But my next work in progress, this one's kind of funny because the reason I started working on it again is because the other day I cut my finger on nothing. I was opening a bottle of syrup. I don't know what I cut myself on. And it was like the tiniest little thing, but it would not stop bleeding. And it's right on my finger that I tension yarn with. And I really wanted to keep knitting, but I didn't have anything that I wouldn't stain because it just kept bleeding. It was so annoying. So I pulled this one out because it wouldn't matter if I got blood on it. So this is my Seasons cardigan by Ozetta. I am knitting this without the button band. In the pattern, you actually knit the button band at the same time as the rest of the cardigan. And you do that by, this is a half fisherman's rib, because I absolutely love half fisherman's rib. You hold the button band stitches on a smaller needle over to the side, like you have both sets on smaller needles. And that's too much like double pointed needles for me, thank you very much. So I was like, no thank you. So I am doing it without the button band, and I will knit the button band on after I'm done the body. So I have actually just gotten to the point in length where I'm going to be doing the bottom ribbing. So it's going to be 3 inches of 1x1 rib at the bottom, which will go quite a bit faster than the rest of this has already been. Although again, I absolutely adore half fisherman's rib so much. I don't know what it is about it. I really like knitting it. I've got a ton of individual colors of whole scar and super soft that I'm thinking of doing like a gradient blanket out of. And I'm trying to decide if I want it to be garter or half fisherman's rib, and I'm really leaning towards half fisherman's rib because I think I'll knit it faster. Again, me and blankets don't have a great track record. But, so I'll be able to knit the bottom, and then I think what I'm going to do the button band first before I cast on the sleeves again. So, because I just think it'd be easier to do the button band sans sleeves. This is so nice. The texture is so beautiful. I'm using 4.5mm needles, and then I'll do 3.5 for the ribbing. I always have to go down a full millimeter needle size for Ozetta patterns because she must be a tight knitter to use the needle sizes that she does. Because in the pattern she says 5.5. No, I have to do 4.5. Otherwise it would be gigantic. But yeah. Oh, it's so nice. It is so nice. And yeah, I'm using my own hand-dyed yarn. This is a non-superwash DK 100% wool and a mohair. And these are in my maraschino cherry colorway, which is a colorway that was part of my Nutcracker collection from last year. I dyed this specifically for myself. And this is only my 3rd ball of yarn, so I'm going to have probably a pretty good amount of yarn left over, and I'm kind of hoping once I'm done I'll be able to knit a lobster by Carla Courtney, I believe her name is, on Instagram. She designs lobster and crab patterns and knits them little sweaters. Last year or the year before, she knit a sort of copy of my pumpkin sweater that I made. It was so beautiful. Anyway, which I could do because I've got a lot of that yarn left over. But yeah, I think this would be the perfect lobster colorway, so I'm kind of hoping I have enough when I'm done to make a lobster. But yeah. Ridiculous. And yeah, that's what... I actually have it in a bag. I don't normally show my project bags because it's usually just ones I've made, but I have this in a bag that I bought from Olivia from This Handmade Life. I've had this for years and years, and it is fabulous. Yeah. I'll work on this a bit. I'll probably work on this until I'm done the body, and then, like, if I can get myself to do the button band right away, that's great, but if I don't, it's not a big deal. Like, we're coming into spring here soon, so it's not imperative that I have it done. I'm also... This one's just for pleasure. This didn't have a reason, so I'm just going to enjoy it. But yeah, I started knitting that again because I didn't want to get blood on any of my other projects. It's a good enough reason if there was any. But yeah, that's basically what I've got going on for knitting. I have, like, always a bunch of socks everywhere, and I've got, you know, just random things that I haven't touched for a while. But that's all my active stuff. I'm now going to go and start making Scrappy project bags, which I'm so excited about because I think they're just going to be so nice. But that's what I'm working on. I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to have my Scrappy quilt update on the 28th of March, as far as I feel like that gives me a good solid chunk of time between now and then, obviously. As far as I know... At the moment, who knows, there will be an extra, basically a sales tax for my American customers, the tariffs that are being put through. Nothing I can do about that, but I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's basically it. I always forget to talk about anything else I'm doing in my life because, I mean, for the most part, I'm really not doing anything else. But people talk about, you know, the shows they're watching and the books they're reading, and I haven't been watching anything because I have not been interested in anything except for watching knitting podcasts. I've rewatched Danny from Little Bobbins from the beginning again. I've done this so many times and I love her more every time. But she's like a comfort blanket for me, so I've just been rewatching her videos. And then I have been reading through, for quite a while now actually, I've been reading through all of Terry Pratchett's Discworld series because last year I hit a gold mine in the Little Free Library, and I know this makes me a greedy little something something, but I took all of the ones that were in the Little Free Library home with me. So it does make me feel greedy, but I love Terry Pratchett. So I've gotten through quite a few of those books. I need to go to the library and see about ones I'm missing. But so far, my favorites are Weird Sisters and Men at Arms, if anyone's wondering about some good books. But they're hilarious and so stupid, and I love them. But I'm just working my way through those just because then I don't have to think about what to read next. So that's all. That's it. I will work on a bunch of stuff and hopefully finish some things, and I will see you next time. So keep yourselves well and have a good rest of your week.